But let's go to Durban now for what should be a good football match. Conor McNamara is there for us, Pat Nevin, but first, Mike Sewell.
Thank you, Richard. Yes, that's something you certainly expect out of a game in the last 16 of the World Cup on a blustery day on South Africa's east coast. I say William of Orange would be proud of the Oranje, as they're known back home, who've descended on Durban for the second time during this World Cup. The orange cowboy hats, boiler suits, frizzy hairpieces, not to mention the recently acquired vuvuzelas, are back in town, hoping to see Holland record a 12th straight win on their World Cup journey. And on the basis of the colour, they certainly outnumber their Slovakian counterparts inside the Moses Mabhida Stadium. But having ousted the reigning champions Italy, Slovakia will have no shortage of belief within their ranks. The two teams leaving the tunnel below us, led by the respective captains, Giovanni van Bronckhorst of Holland and Marek Hamšík of Slovakia, lining up either side of the refereeing contingent, led by Alberto Undiano of Spain. The Dutch lining up away to our left, and the Slovakians lining up away to our right. The first national anthem we'll hear is that of the Netherlands, Het Wilhelmus. The William is what it calls, and it celebrates the man I mentioned, William of Orange. Blustering away in the wind. The two teams shake hands, and I think Bert van Marwijk, the Holland manager, was probably expecting to pit his wits against Marcello Lippi, but Vladimir Weiss and his team have changed the menu somewhat, and it's the youngest coach at these finals, 45-year-old Weiss, who takes on Van Marwijk. Pat Nevin, what do you expect from today's game?
Well, strange enough, Conor McNamara 10-15 minutes ago suggested that it's going to be a tough one for Slovakia, and I completely agree with him. The way they've set the team out, it's positive, bordering on foolhardy as far as I can see. That's not to be particularly abusive towards the coach, but to play what is essentially a 4-2-4 against the might of Holland is brave. He obviously trusts in his team.
Well, let's run you through those two teams, and let's go through the Slovakia team first of all. They have the Everton-bound goalkeeper Jan Muka in goal. Their back four from right to left is Peter Pakarik of Wolfsburg, Martin Skrtel, familiar face at Liverpool, Jan Doritsa of Lokomotiv Moscow, and Radislav Zabavnik, who plays his football in Germany. Then the two men that Pat was talking about inside that midfield, and I think a lot is going to be helped of the likes of Marek Hamšík, the captain, a key player who plays his football for Napoli, and Juraj Kuška, who plays in the Czech Republic. Either side of them, Vladimir Weiss, in for the suspended Zdenko Šterba, son of the manager and of Manchester City, on the right-hand side, and on the left, Miroslav Stoch of Chelsea, who played at 20 Enschede in the second half of last season. And up front for them, Robert Vitek, who scored 3 goals already, and Erik Jędrzejczyk, who officially joined Schalke at the end of this week. The referee for today is Alberto Undiano of Spain, just waiting for the signal from television. Holland in their orange shirts, black shorts and orange socks will attack the goal away to our right in this first half. Slovakia in all white. Holland have Martin Stekelenburg in goal, the Ajax keeper. Across the back from right to left, Gregory van der Wiel of Ajax, John Heitinga of Everton, Joris Matthijssen, who plays for Hamburg, and the captain Giovanni van Bronckhorst, now at Feyenoord, making his 103rd appearance for his country. 2 holding midfielders, Nigel de Jong and Mark van Bommel, the son-in-law of Bert van Marwijk, as the game kicks off. Wesley Sneijder just ahead of them, who scored the goal here against Japan. The 2 wingers are Arjen Robben on the left, who's in for Rafael van der Vaart, and Dirk Kuyt, who scored in the first match against Denmark, on the right, with Robin van Persie, the main man up front.
Yeah, the only one thing about the lineups there, both sets of wingers are quite happy to play on either side, and Robin's actually started on the right and Dirk Kuyt's on the left, but really both sets of wingers will change at will.
Slovakia had possession early on in this game, away to our left, down the left wing, the near side as we look, and the ball is with one of the centre halves, Jan Doritsa, playing alongside Skrtel, and it's Skrtel now who has the ball, and he chips it down the right flank, headed away easily though by Giovanni van Bronckhorst, and then via Nigel de Jong it makes its way out to the right side for Holland, with Arjen Robben, loses possession though, and it's put down the line for Slovakia to move forward. Stoch takes on 2 Dutch players, moves central, plays it into a central position, a right foot shot which rises over the crossbar from Juraj Kuška, and that's the first real effort of the game.
Yeah, I must admit the player Weiss, who's playing in the left hand, started there and that run up the left there. I had a problem with him playing. I've watched a couple of games they've played so far, and it did begin to seem a wee bit Daddy's boy was getting a game, really, because he didn't play particularly well in those games. I certainly thought Stoch had more of an impact when he came on, but at the moment, very adaptable there. Weiss has moved in behind the striker, so it's still a 4-2-4, and I just get this feeling that there's a central midfield area, mostly where Wesley Sneijder plays. I think there's going to be a gap develops there, and I just feel that Holland are good enough to use that. So that space in front of the D of the Slovakian defence of their 18-yard line, I think that's where we want to see all the work for the players like Van Persie and Sneijder.
2 minutes played here in Durban, no goals as yet in what is a magnificent stadium, the Moses Mabhida Stadium. It's my first visit, as it is yours, Pat, and with this wonderful arc, this funicular which runs above the stadium, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not that many stadiums that are as open. It's got a kind of almost like a running track round it, and usually that has a negative effect on the atmosphere that it creates, but not here. It is very open, it is very airy, but it is very atmospheric as well.
Just looking to our right, there's a little slice, a couple of blocks of the top 2 tiers taken out, big gap. It's a bit like Berlin's Olympic Stadium in that sense.
Very unusual that, because usually they want to get as many seats and as much money as possible from a stadium.
Holland have won the ball on the far side of the field via defensive error there by Vladimir Weiss. It's going to be a throw-in from the far side, which will be taken by the captain Giovanni van Bronckhorst into the penalty area, over the head of Van Persie. Robin also over his head, and at this near side, Slovakia clear down the line. Up towards Robert Vitek, who's scored 3 goals already during this tournament, just one behind the leading goal scorer, Gonzalo Higuain of Argentina. Here's Robben from the right, low ball into Schneider, neat turn, but the ball runs away from the Inter Milan midfielder, and it's back into the centre-half position of John Heitinga, who finds Nigel de Jong. Up towards Schneider, the ball runs under his boot, but is picked up on the far side. The Holland left with Dirk Kuyt, infield now to Van Persie, midway inside the Slovakia half, and then via Gregory van der Wiel it's with Arjen Robben. Robben back down to the halfway line for de Jong. Patient build-up from Holland here.
Yeah, look to be comfortable in the ball, trying to drag players out.
Robben into Schneider, 25 yards out. He tries an effort which lofts over the crossbar of Jan Muka.
And what it is it's pushing the Slovakian team, the entirety of the team, really back towards their own third of the field. You get the feeling Holland just want to get Arjen Robben on the ball as much as possible, but what Arjen Robben will want in this wide area is to try and individualise it, get a 1-on-1 as often as they possibly can. He's against Zabavnik, and this right hand side, the near hand side to us just now, and he'll want to test himself early to A, to make sure he's fully fit, and B, to see if he's got the pace of the left full back that's marking him. He generally does tend to have the pace of anyone who's marking him.
Yeah, if we didn't know that already. Making his first start of this tournament, and he just waits here as the ball is in the Slovakia defence, patiently being knocked around between Skrtel and Durica. If you look at it, 5 players on each of these starting 11s are on yellow cards, so if they were to make it to the quarter-finals, they've got to be rather careful as Hamšík tries a long-distance effort, which Stecklenburg watches go past his post. So that's something you've got to be a little bit careful about. 5 players in a starting 11 on each team and 1 on the bench. Yeah,
I mean, you're trying not to think ahead, but obviously there's something at some point during the night before you get to sleep. If you're a home player, you're thinking, if I get booked and I'm on a booking, I'll miss the next match, and that could be Brazil, so it will be on their mind slightly, and hopefully it's on the referee's mind. He won't give simple and stupid yellow cards out. We've seen 1 or 2 stupid yellows so far.
Long distance effort coming in from Dirk Kuyt, but it's low and it's wide of Muka's goal. Muka, one of the players on a yellow card. In fact, Zdenko Sturba is missing today for Slovakia because of picking up 2 yellows. Just to reiterate that the cards are wiped after the quarter-final stage, so there's no chance of anyone picking up 2 yellows unless they get them in the same game before the final.
Yeah, and you mentioned Sturba there, very important player, missing for the Slovakian team. He is generally their holding midfielder, and he's missing today, a big miss for them.
Vladimir Weiss tries to switch play from right to left, and that ball now is in midfield, but it's a foul on a Dutch player, on Mark van Bommel. It's going to be a free kick to Holland, which I think Stecklenburg is going to take. Dressed in electric blue today.
They don't do quiet colours, do they, the Dutch? Very, very bright. Certainly the goalkeeper, as bright as he possibly can, and the Dutch supporters are always fantastic to watch. They're always they look as if there's more than there actually is because they're so bright.
Here's Kuyt from the left, swinging a ball in. Van Persie with a header, which he didn't connect very well with, but the fortune for him is that it came off a Slovakia defender. I think it was Zabavnik. It's out for a Holland corner.
That's a bad miss. For me, that's a very bad miss. That's a clear header, 6 yards out. You've got to get at least on target. Van Persie can't believe. I think he had it with his shoulder in the end. It wasn't a difficult one. Didn't catch it at all.
Robben with the corner, swung into the near post, headed away by Slovakia. It bounces on the touchline on the near side, and the throw's taken by Robben. 7 minutes have passed. No goals here in Durban between Holland and Slovakia. The ball is back with Giovanni van Bronckhorst, who made his debut for his country almost 14 years ago. Now 35 years of age, and in playing his football back in Holland for Feyenoord. Here come Slovakia through midfield, through Juraj Kuška. It's back with Durica, whose ball to Vladimir Weiss is played on, but it's gone all the way back to Joris Matthijssen and out wide to Kuyt on the left. Here come the Vuvuzelas.
Yeah, they get into a mood, don't they? It's an I think it was nearly onside there, a little ball through, and that's the first chance Van Persie's had. He almost broke the offside track. But just look at the way the Dutch have played so far, and a lot of people are talking about them as one of the favourites for the World Cup, but they've been fairly functional so far. You know, they've been good enough. They've done enough. They've not made any great changes. You know how they're going to line up. You know what the personnel is going to be. But you get the feeling they've yet to let loose.
His stock into the penalty area. Out comes Stecklenburg to claim it, and he immediately distributes the ball to Mark van Bommel. But isn't it better to sit in the shadows for the first few games of the tournament and then come good? Yeah,
and I suppose there's teams that are capable of doing that usually, but this is a World Cup where that doesn't seem to be happening, because if you try that in your France and your Italy, it tends to backfire. But you're absolutely right. Just get the results away, save a bit of energy, try not to get too many bookings and get through to the final stages. And so far it hasn't been a bad draw, you have to be fair to Holland.
I mentioned in the introduction they're looking for their 12th straight win in this World Cup. Of course, that includes qualifying. They won all 8 of their qualifiers en route to the finals, and of course won all 3 games in the group stages against Denmark, Japan and Cameroon. They've only conceded 1 goal here in South Africa of the Dutch. They have possession at the back.
I think that's a lot got to do with the 2 sitting midfielders, Van Bommel and De Jong. Really do work. It's very hard to get at the central defence. Sometimes you don't know how good Heitinga and Matthijssen are, because you can't get to them, because those 2 sitting midfielders are very, very good at their jobs. They don't often go forward. They just believe in the 4 guys in front of them will do it almost on their own most of the time.
Well, the ball has spent almost a minute inside the Dutch half, and eventually it's played back by Van der Wiel to his goalkeeper Stecklenburg, 2 Ajax players, and now it's out wide to one of their rival club's players, Feyenoord's Van Bronckhorst. Kout inside the Slovakia half. Van Bommel on the halfway line. Low ball down the centre of the field to find Van Persie, who moves away from 2 challengers, and then 25 yards out, lays the ball off. Schneider's shot comes in, saved down low by Jan Muka. Too much space on the left for Schneider.
I bet you think Van Persie's absolutely gutted right now, because he had a great opportunity to shoot for himself. He was only 18, 19 yards out. The correct ball was to play it wide to Schneider, but Schneider made a mess of it.
And that ball out wide to Van Bronckhorst is in an offside position. I thought he was level there, but it's gone into the penalty area. It's a free kick to Slovakia. Let's head up back to Wimbledon now and join Alistair Eakin for the latest.
And the defending champion Serena Williams leads Maria Sharapova by 3-2 in the opening set. She broke the Russian to love early on, went 3-1 up, but Sharapova has just returned the favour and is very much back in the hunt. Serena Williams 3-2 up first set.
Thank you, Alistair. Of course, coverage over on 5 Live Sports Extra from Wimbledon. Andy Murray in action later today. And of course, in terms of the World Cup, it's Brazil against Chile. The late kick-off, 7:30 here on 5 Live, where in Durban it's still Holland 0, Slovakia 0 after 11 minutes, and the ball is with Holland until Van Bommel gives it away, and Slovakia have it back with son of the coach. In fact, 3 generations of Weisses have played for their country, or at least either and Slovakia or Czechoslovakia, and they all have the same name. The grandfather was Vladimir Weiss, the coach is Vladimir Weiss, and the player is Vladimir Weiss.
Not hugely imaginative, it has to be said, at the moment, but interesting to see where the Weiss, the younger, I suppose, will have to come, where he's playing just now, playing off the centre forward, and he usually plays wide.
Here's Hamšík for Slovakia, plays the ball down the centre of the field, cut out initially by Holland, and then a poor touch by Hamšík means the ball is out to this near side. A key player who is very talented, plays for Napoli in Italy, and sporting a mohawk today.
Yeah, I think for generally through the World Cup, I don't think he has shown the way that we've expected or hoped him to do, because he's supposed to be a playmaker, controlling games, etc. For me, he's been quite peripheral in the games that I've seen him, but then again, I wasn't there at the Italy game, so I suppose that's the one that really counts.
He was the Slovakian Footballer of the Year last year, Marek Hamšík. He's also the captain of the team. Here's Kout trying to play it infield. Hamšík cuts it out, and then via Stock it's back to the right back, Peter Pekarik. He'll be playing under Steve McLaren at Wolfsburg next season. Pekarik. It's very pedestrian, isn't it, at the moment, this game?
Yeah, well, I was saying earlier on that I thought Holland have been fairly functional so far in this tournament. You know, they're good enough players. We know they've got very, very good players, but you know, they don't seem to be panicking. very almost, and this will offend every Dutchman listening, very German in the way they've organised it and structured it, the way they're playing. But that's the way it seems to be going just now. Whereas Germany, the way they're playing just now, are a little bit more open, the way you expect the Dutch to be. It's very strange that the systems have changed around a little bit, but I just feel there are one or two gears left for the Dutch when they need them. And if you've got an unexpected Slovakian goal, I think we will see a great game. But so far, it has to be said, it's not a great game so far.
Forward come Slovakia, long distance strike by Kusha. It's gone out of play for a goal kick. I think we need to limit, for our English listeners, the amount of times we say the word Germany today. Pat, it could be quite painful.
I know, it's. I think it will have to be mentioned once or twice, but to be honest, England's got bigger problems than Germany. They've got their own problems.
If you were listening to 5 Live earlier, you'd have heard Fabio Capello saying absolutely he wants to stay on as England manager, but the FA are going to give it 2 weeks, something of a cooling off period, just to reflect on what happened yesterday. Capello added that he thought his players were tired after a long Premier League season.
I mean, there's no doubt that tiredness played part of it, but I think the problems go much deeper than that.
14 minutes played. Holland 0, Slovakia 0 so far. A couple of half-hearted chances. Schneider, Van Persie at that end, and then a shot over the bar from Jędrzejczyk. But it's a game which is, and as I mentioned, at a very pedestrian pace, walking pace almost. The ball is still with Holland, who've held possession for quite some time until Gregory van der Veel loses out down the Slovakia left to Jędrzejczyk. But then that ball is cleared away, and it's now Van Persie challenging with Zabavnik on this near side. The Holland right, it's going to be their throw-in as the ball is tapped back to Van der Veel by his manager Bert van Marwijk, father-in-law of Mark van Bommel, who's on the pitch. He won 1 cap in his playing days for Holland, did Van Marwijk.
Something to be proud of. I'll tell you what, not easy to get a cap for Holland. Just look at it, there's been a little adaptation. We started a 4-2-4, the Slovakian side, and I was thinking to myself, that's taken one hell of a chance against a quota side like the Dutch. However, they have went back to the side that I actually wrote down earlier on, it's a 4-2-3-1, which is really matching up almost precisely against the Dutch. That's what generally happens. If you're playing against a team, you tend to want to match up to them and say, look, get by us, you know. And that's what they're doing so far. And I have to say, those 3 midfielders, Weiss, Jędrzejczyk and Stock, have worked very, very hard so far. They're not being particularly creative, but they seem to be attacking midfielders, but they've spent most of the time chasing down, closing down the Dutch players, not giving them any space. And certainly the one guy you're expecting to get the ball is Arjen Robben, and he's got very, very little of it so far.
Free kick for Holland for a foul by Jan Goritza. It's on the edge of the centre circle inside the Slovakia half. It'll be taken by Mark van Bommel and put straight out of play on the far side of the field. That sums up the opening 16 and a half minutes of this game.
Don't think you want to see that one again. That was absolutely dreadful. Just played it straight out of play. Total misunderstanding between him and Dirk Kuyt.
Slovakia eventually, via the throw, play the ball down the line and want to throw in line with the edge of the Dutch penalty area. Away to our left is Weiss. Infield to Vitek, who I've barely mentioned so far. The man who's so far been responsible for 3 of his country's goals. And the last of those put him level with Slizard Nemeth, the former Middlesbrough player, as all-time leading goal scorer for Slovakia. 1 more today, and he has that outright. Here comes Robben down the right, lifting the noise from the Dutch fans. Steps in, left foot shot. It beats the goalkeeper to his left. Jan Muka is beaten by Arjen Robben after 17 and a half minutes of this match. It's a typical Robben goal. It's Holland 1, Slovakia 0.
You could not describe that any better. It is a completely typical Arjen Robben goal. The ball was put over the top of the defence for the first time. Slovakia moved on a little bit, tried to push up 10-15 yards. As soon as they did that, the ball was put in behind the left back, and there was never any doubt that the quicker player was going to be Arjen Robben on that occasion. He could have gone to the line, but as he often does, as you say, very typical of him, he goes inside, goes onto his left foot. Problem for the keeper then. he knows that both Arjen Robben can go to the back post and swing it, and he can nail it in the near post. This occasion, nails it in the near post. 1-0, question marks all on Slovakia now.
Question marks are particularly on Zabavnik, who couldn't keep up with Robben once he received the ball. They were dead level, and in fact I think Robben was a couple of yards behind him.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt pace-wise wasn't going to get near him. Dorica tried to come over and give him a little bit of help. That's maybe why Robben didn't go straight on and attack direct towards goals. But the problem with Robben is he can go two directions. You know, he can go in and with his left foot he can put it in the back, as I say, in the far corner, or else he can put it in the near corner. This time, superb. They always complain about goalkeepers losing it in the near post, but when you know and you've watched in Champions League games Robben putting it in the far corner and swerving it in there, you have to sort of anticipate it. He tried to anticipate it a little bit, and Robben saw that, put it in the near post.
He probably scored my favourite goal of last season, the volley against Manchester United from the corner, wasn't it? Superb strike.
You mean as a purist?
Yeah.
Not as an anti-Manchester United fan in any way.
No, just purely from technique. It was perfect. Well, Arjen Robben, who scored in Germany 4 years ago at the World Cup, has opened his account here in South Africa. 23 goals in 38 appearances for Bayern Munich last season. And are they glad to have him back? The Dutch leading 1-0. We almost had 20 minutes of play at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban.
Be intriguing to see what happens now. Will Slovakia readapt and try to go back to the 4-2-4 that they were trying to start with? Do that against the Dutch at your peril, absolutely, because if there is any big gap in that central midfield area, I don't know if there are that many teams in the world that are better in exposing you. They're very, very good at that. So they're caught between a rock and a hard place just now in Slovakia.
It's quite frightening when you look at the main threats for Holland: Schneider, Van Persie, Robben coming at you.
And underline also the fact that we've been saying all the way through in the first 20 or so minutes of this game, they're not playing particularly well. They don't seem to overexert themselves, the Dutch, in any way, but they're 1-0 up, and Slovakia have got questions to ask themselves. There's a great it's pretty obvious this, but there's a great confidence about the Dutch side, but then that is generally the case.
Beaten finalists in 1974 and 1978. The Orange will want them to go one step further here in South Africa and win the trophy. Ball is inside the Slovakia half with Jan Dorica. He plays it back out to the right to find his central defensive partner Martin Skrtel. Now Stock out wide to the right and gets it back in field. Stock tries to go through a couple of Dutch players without success, and eventually the ball falls loose to Arjen Robben. Into Van Bommel inside the centre circle, now inside the Slovakia half. Kout makes a run across him. Schneider then feeds the ball to the right, but it's carried on the wind and out for a throw-in.
Yes, Arjen Robben's fairly quick, but he's not quite that quick. But you notice when they turned over the possession of the ball there, the Dutch, suddenly they had 5 players going against 4, and that's just the problem that they're going to have from now on. Slovakia, they need to score a goal, and I think they need to score one before half-time.
Serena Williams is playing Maria Sharapova at Wimbledon. Let's get an update from Alistair Eakin.
It's 4 games all first set, and Sharapova has love 30 on the Serena Williams serve. A real battle of wills out here. 2 very strong-minded individuals. Sharapova, one of few people prepared to take Serena on in the mental battle. 1 break of serve either way. Serena Williams went 3-1 up, but Sharapova right back in it. 4 games all first set.
Trailing here, though, are Slovakia by a 0-0 to Holland. Arjen Robben scoring as Muka clears from just outside his penalty area. You can see how strong the wind is because it hung in the air and came back. It's a very blustery day in Durban. Slovakia have possession on their left, away to our left, with Vladimir Weiss. Chips the ball towards Vitek, who's inside the area, but it's away from him, and it's an easy one for Martin Stecklenburg to claim. And once we've had an assessment at the midway point of the first half from Pat Nevin, Conor McNamara will take you through to half-time.
Yeah, it's been quite intriguing, and right now the Dutch have decided to be very Dutch about it, be open football and change all their strikers to different positions. Conor.
Thanks, Pat and Mike. Arjen Robben in possession. He's the man who scored the goal here. You know, Holland were the most impressive European nation in the group stage, and that was without Robben in the starting lineup. He's in the 11 today. It's his goal that separates the teams here in Durban. Is it fair to say, Pat, that the manner of that Iron Robben goal is sort of what England have lacked in this tournament? You know, the confidence, take on a full-back, drop a shoulder and score a shot from outside the penalty area.
And the oddness of that, the strangeness of that, if you look at England's squad, they've got plenty of wingers. They've got pace as well. It just didn't seem to happen. They didn't seem to... The thing isn't about one player going and doing that. It's about manipulating the situation to do that. And that's what the Dutch have seemed to be doing very, very easily in England. One of the things that England didn't do. There are other things that England didn't do well.
Holland won 3 out of 3 at the group stage. The only other nation who managed that were Argentina. And here they are hoping to make it 4 out of 4 and book a possible quarter-final against Brazil in Port Elizabeth. Brazil play Chile this evening. You'll hear the commentary on 5 Live to decide who goes on to play the winner of this game. And of course it's not over here yet in Durban. Slovakia came very good against Italy in the second half, and having knocked out the world champions, they won't be giving up here too quickly. But for the moment, since I've been talking to you here, the Dutch have just had possession and comfortably passing it around in midfield. It's back to Heitinga, the Everton man. Van de Veil of Ajax on the halfway line, orange boots to match his orange jersey, wearing the number 2, and he rolls it to Robben. And you can almost sense the fear of Zabavnik, the fullback, every time Iron Robben gets possession. Possession still with the Netherlands, the Dutch, Holland, whatever you want to call them, and back to the goalkeeper, Stekelenburg. And this is Heitinga now, midway inside the Dutch half. Short pass to Van de Veil. Slovakia nowhere near the ball. Schneider, challenged, but he holds on to it. Back to Van de Veil again, back into Heitinga, who allows it to carry through to Stekelenburg. If Slovakia are to get an equaliser, they're going to have to get possession of the football.
Well, that would be helpful as well, but just off the ball, I know you have to concentrate on the ball, exactly what's happening. Zabavnik doesn't know where to stick or twist at the moment. He doesn't know where to run with Iron Robben. He's trying to get tight, which is the last thing you do against Iron Robben. And Iron Robben's desperate to get the ball. He knows he's got space.
Here comes Dirk Kuyt. Robben free on the right. Kuyt gives it to Van Persie inside the penalty area, trying to manoeuvre into some space. His cross takes a deflection, and that goes out for a Dutch corner on the left-hand side. And this pressure is continuing, and I think that the Slovakians are being given a rude awakening here in Durban. They've done ever so well to reach the second round, but they are under enormous pressure here against Holland.
Oh, they certainly are, and if they get the ball to Robben again, I fear for them.
So Schneider of Inter Milan takes the corner, in-swinging goalkeeper punches. He probably had enough time to catch that, Muka, but it's back with De Jong in midfield. All the players who went forward for that corner kick have remained in attacking positions. Van Bommel on the right-hand side. Good block down as Miroslav Stock comes across and the ball goes out for a throw-in to the Dutch on the right-hand side.
Well, just a moment before we were talking about Arjen Robben there, and he was getting so excited and desperate to get on the ball because he knew that he had lots and lots of space, and you get the feeling one more goal and the game could be almost up this early on, because with the amount of pressure and the amount of possession that the Dutch have got just now, they've not created that many chances, but you just feel that at any time they could create another one.
There's an enormous travelling support wearing orange. You know the Premier League is going to look like this next season when Blackpool travel their way around the country.
Subtle difference between orange and tangerine, I think. Subtle.
Here comes the corner, right-hand side from Robben to the back post, nodded back in by Dirk Kuyt. Slovakia haven't cleared it away. Schneider can't get possession, and he has committed a foul inside the penalty area, and that's a free kick to Slovakia and a chance for them to clear their lines.
And they'll be very relieved about that. It's a good period, and just since you started talking there, it's been complete control, total dominance from the Dutch. And again, it's almost at a pace that they fancy. Their control of the pace of this game has been quite impressive, really. I mean, when they've wanted to really push it up, they've tried to push it up. But the big problem is the catch-22 that Slovakia have got. If they push on, if they try and put the Dutch under pressure, the quality and the pace that they've got up front for breaking, particularly from Robben, is frightening, really.
Holland 1, Slovakia 0. Iron Robben's goal came in the 18th minute here. And what form he's been in for Bayern Munich, who won their domestic double in Germany. He's on the ball again here. They got to the Champions League final. Robben crowded out of it. They've tripled up at him there. As soon as he got the ball, 3 defenders in to make sure he didn't have any space. But Ian Robben's goal tally for Bayern Munich this past season, he played 38 games, he scored 28 goals.
Not bad for inverted commas winger.
Yeah. Well, as Mike Sewell said in the commentary, it was a typical Ian Robben goal, cutting in from the wing and blasting it accurately into the corner. Schneider's been fouled here near the centre circle, and that's going to be a free kick to the Dutch.
Yeah, I'm happy he didn't get his card out there. I don't think Kutsha is one of the players who's on a yellow anyway. But the referees have to understand at this point in the tournament. We've had a few really silly ones as it's going on, not just not spotting balls over the goal lines, but there are a couple of sending offs in this tournament which have been ridiculous so far, and hopefully we don't see any more of that between now and the end.
That's the voice of Pat Nevin, former Scotland international, watching this game with us here in sunny Durban, which it wasn't yesterday when myself and Pat both flew in here. Very rare rain around these parts, but it was coming down in sheets, and thankfully that has cleared up today, and we've got blue skies overhead in this very impressive stadium as Slovakia tried to attack down the right, but there's just not enough room there for Jędrzejczyk, and the ball will return to the Dutch, and with Van Bronckhorst, the former Arsenal, Rangers and Barcelona man.
Yeah, and he's had a great career, and before anyone gets too sympathetic towards us, it was raining, but it still was lovely for a run, and it was even lovely to go for a swim in the sea afterwards, so don't get too sympathetic towards us.
Pat Nevin is a brave man, and I'm not saying that because the water was cold, because it wasn't, but because of the signs on the beach saying beware of the sharks. But Pat Nevin straight in there, no problem.
Ooh,
Slovakia have possession, and they've won a free kick here. Vitek was taken down, long way outside the penalty area. He's just rolling on the ground there as if he might have an injury.
I think he's done something to his wrist, I think. He's went down in an odd way, so...
It's the way he fell.
It must have been that. I can't see that... I think he'll survive.
He was challenged from behind by Mathiasson, and as he fell to the ground, Mark van Bommel came in and collided with Robert Vitek. Now this is a free kick to Slovakia. They have not had a chance in the game yet. They need to make this count. Stock is standing over the free kick. They've got 5 white jerseys in the penalty area. Vladimir Weiss is just outside the area in the D. Here's the delivery. De Jong with the backheel volley inside the 6-yard box. Clears the ball away for the Dutch.
That's classy defending, isn't it? I'll tell you what, brave as well, because it was a fabulous ball in there. Landed foot high just inside the 6-yard line. Backheel right foot away. Not many players will be confident enough to do that.
Well, Holland are 1-0 up. But imagine that it ended up spinning into the back of his own net. Now, Ian Robben is going to pick up a yellow card here. So, a yellow card. He's not one of the players who would miss the quarter-final. But, well, go on, Pat.
Honestly, I despair of some referees at this World Cup. I absolutely despair. The ball is hit at Arjen Robben. It's nowhere near the goal. He's 2 yards away from it. It's zipped at him. He's tried to get his arm out the way, and the referee could not get to his pocket quick enough. If that is the rules of football, I do not understand them. Useless.
Ian Robben, the first man booked here in Durban. 1-0 to Holland. A free kick to Slovakia. Left-hand side on 5 live. Whipped in. Good pace by Stock. And the first defender missed it. It comes back to the defender who wallops it in. But Jędrzejczyk is way off target.
Well, I'm not going to go on about this too much, but if that happens again now, he's standing 2 yards away from the ball and somebody leathers a ball at Arjen Robben and it hits his hand, he's going to miss the next game now.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is a joke. If FIFA think that is an acceptable way to run football, they need their heads looking at it. It's a disgrace.
Ian Robben picking up the yellow card. It's his goal that separates the teams here. And another throw-in down in that same location, and Vladimir Weiss has been penalised for a foul throw, so it becomes a Dutch throw taken by Gregory van der Velde, and the ball was going to ricochet back out of play, and now a Slovakian throw on the halfway line. It's not been thrill-a-minute by any means. We've played over half an hour here in Durban, but Holland doing what they need to do so far. They've only had 2 chances. Van Persie's header went out for a corner. Ian Robben's shot ended up in the back of the net. Stock with a header for Slovakia. Back to the halfway line. To Zabavnik. Up towards Vitek, who's been the man who scored the goals for Slovakia in this tournament. 3 goals in 3 games before today. You know, if they were to go through and he gets a few more, he'd be in line for the Golden Boot. And amazingly, Robert Vitek didn't score at all in qualifying, and he played in almost every game. Schneider's picked up an injury, but play continues around him. And Robin was very nearly released down the left. Schneider is still down on the ground.
It's actually terrible, isn't it? The marking, well, that's a very loose term, and the way they're getting close to Arjen Robben. This time it was Zabavnik again. He looks to me like a player who's a centre-back, who's been asked to play at left-back. It's a very specialised position to play at full-back, especially if you're playing with one of the best wingers in the world. That's time and again he's found himself in the wrong position. It was just the final ball, it didn't go through. Had that happened, had the ball been played through, and it wasn't a difficult one, Robin was 1-on-1 with the keeper again. They've got to do something about that.
I think the number 5 might be a hint to say that he normally plays in a more central location. You know, time and time again, the Dutch come to these big tournaments, they do really well in the group stages, and then it falls apart for them in the knockout rounds, and they're hoping that will not be the case this time round. They lead here in this second round game against Slovakia by 1-0. And poor old Radoslav Zabavnik under pressure again, and he's kicked out this time at Arjen Robben. The ball is spilled out of play, and it's going to be possession back to the Dutch. Has the referee given a free kick for that challenge? I think he has.
He has. But I do actually sometimes feel sorry for, centre backs that are asked, and there's quite a few teams doing that at this World Cup. Have decided to just put a big, 4 big lumps across the back line. And to be honest, I think that's really taking a massive chance at, because anytime that happened to me in my career, I loved it when a centre half came out to mark me, because that's not their job.
I'm not sure if Argentina have a specialist fullback in their squad. Maybe they've got one. It's all central defenders.
Ainsley can do it, but you're absolutely spot on. And that may well be their downfall in the end.
Mind you, they're so good going forward attacking. But, they don't exactly need overlapping, whizzing fullbacks, do they? And I suppose Ainsley did score their opening goal.
He's got an injury, I think, to the assistant referee.
Fourth official is coming onto the pitch here. An injury to a flag.
No, he's flagged.
Yeah. He tried to use it as a vuvuzela.
I'm going to have to do it at half-time. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research to find out if the referee here, he seems a wee bit pernickety to me with that yellow card. There was a Spanish referee earlier on the tournament, gave 8 or 9 yellows earlier in the tournament. I wonder if it was him. Yeah,
Alberto Undiano is the referee today. It was the Germany-Serbia game that
it's him.
All those cards were delved out.
And he sent off Miroslav Klose for a nonsensical. The second yellow was a yellow, and that's what makes me think of the Robin thing here. He's booked Robin for nothing. He did the same for Klose. He got that wrong. This guy's not learned, and he's still getting big games.
1-0 here to Holland. We've played 35 minutes. The opening week of the tournament, Pat, everyone was praising the referees, what a high standard it was.
Not everyone.
Well, okay, in the opening week, a lot of people were saying that the quality of refereeing was very good. The last few nights, there have been some howlers at this World Cup.
Oddly enough, it's not the obvious, mistakes. Getting an offside wrong, that's just human error. It can happen, It's just, I feel sorry for them in many ways, because in the end, technology is going to help them, and do you know what? Some of them may want it, some of them may not want it, but when they get the technological help in the end, they will love it. They will really like it. But the ones that it's technical mistakes like that could end up ruining again. The Kaká being sent off when he shouldn't have been, Klose getting sent off when he shouldn't have been, was it Estrada getting sent off for Chile when he shouldn't have been. Those sort of things drive me nuts, because as a player, you spent your entire life building up towards a moment, and somebody comes in and makes a technical mistake like that, that's the one that drives me mad.
Earlier on 5 Live, you may have heard our coverage from Wimbledon, and they discussed how the players can choose to use Hawkeye on certain calls. I wonder by the time the next World Cup comes around if similar technology will be in use. We're live in Durban.
All depends whether you get ready Blatter or not. Sorry about that.
That could well be a large part. In that case, they won't be any.
It's the correct answer.
Hamšík, who's the star man for Slovakia, with possession on the halfway line. If they're going to get back in this game, you sense he would be the man to be involved, but he's not seen much of the ball, as the Dutch possession has just been almost absolute. Robin in the ball here. Van der Veil puts it out down the right-hand side, and Holland have not been put under any pressure in this game. Throw it into the penalty area. Maybe a chance here for Jędrusik, but he's going to win. He thought it was going to be a corner. It's only a kick, so 1-0 here to Holland. Let's take an update from Wimbledon now and join Alistair Eakin.
A real scrap here on centre court, Connor, between two heavyweights of the women's game. Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova locked at 6 games all. We're into a first set tiebreak. It's 1 point apiece.
Thank you very much, Alistair. Commentary continues on our sister station 5 Live Sports Extra. Andy Murray plays later on against the American Sam Querrey at Wimbledon. I think he's third on court today. Tomorrow, Paraguay against Japan and Spain against Portugal. I'll be at that game at Cape Town as the World Cup continues and we get our way through the remainder of the second round games. Ball over the top, down the right wing, too far in front of Robin van Persie, and goes out for a goal kick to Slovakia. And their keeper, Jan Muka, who's going to be joining Everton this summer. Do you blame the goalkeeper in any way for that goal, Pat?
It's tough. Near post, he'll not be happy about it, as they say in the trade. But you know what Robin's like. You have to almost give a little bit of a chance, because if he puts it in the far corner from 18, 19 yards, you ain't going to get there, particularly with these balls the way they travel. So he's taken half a step, and that half a step's killed him. And you know, you will blame the goalkeeper slightly, but I tend on those occasions to say well done to the scorer.
1-0 to Holland. Jan Muka will sign for Everton from Legia Warsaw. You'd imagine to sit on the bench. He's not going to.
I don't think he believes
take Tim
that.
Howard out of the goal.
I've heard comments that he's made to David Moyes, and I think he believes he's going to not walk into the team, but he thinks he's going to take Tim Howard's place. We shall see.
Kutska tries to make a break down the right hand side, and the referee is going to show another yellow card, and this one is being shown to Juraj Kutska, and he is not one of the 12 players across the two squads who were on a card going into this game, but Kutska becomes the second player to be booked, along with Arjen Robben for the Dutch, and a free kick to Holland midway inside their own half.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about that yellow card. He got that one right. I'm not so biased against the referee to moan and complain about that one, but he doesn't. It needs not to get carried away, the referee, just now. I mean, he's taking more part in this game than many of the players at the moment.
This is Slovakia's first World Cup. Of course, in their previous guise, pre-independence, as part of Czechoslovakia, that nation has been at many of these tournaments. This is Van Persie on the ball for Holland. He's well outside the penalty area, manoeuvres into a good position, and the shot along the ground wasn't powerful enough to trouble the goalkeeper.
Not convinced by Van Persie's movement there. He didn't look, you know, he's usually smooth, and to use an African reference, he moves like a gazelle, usually. On this occasion, he looked a bit heely to me, and that almost looked like a toe poke, though, rather than his usual slipping in the corner.
Shot at the other end from Vitek, comes off the back of a defender. The goalkeeper tried to keep it in. Stelkenberg wasn't able to, and that's a corner to Slovakia on the left-hand side. Just going back to that challenge, I wondered, did Van Persie actually kick the ground just before the ball, because he swung his foot very fluidly, but the ball hardly moved. 1-0 to Holland. Defending for them to do now, but their goalkeeper's yet to make a save in this game, as we've just got 4 minutes to go to half-time. Vladimir Weiss, the Manchester City man, passes back to Miroslav Stoch. Left corner angle of the penalty area. Arjen Robben is back doing defending, and Stoch sends it across to the far side to Pekarik, the right full back, and it's Dirk Kuyt putting pressure on him, and the Dutch are working hard when they don't have possession. Into midfield, Dorica up towards Vitek, the goal scorer, but he's 10 yards outside the penalty area, flicks it over to the right wing. There's no one there for Slovakia, and that goes out for a throw to Holland.
It's just that temptation that teams want to go through the middle of a defence, and that's exactly what Holland want you to do. They want you to put it in there where they've got Van Bommel, they've got De Jong, and they feel that they're confident enough that they can sweep up everything. And so far, as you absolutely rightly said, there's not been a save made by Stekelenburg as far as I can see.
The Dutch have possession, and they've given it to Robben on the near touchline, the right as they come forward. This time, Zabavnik's done much better, closed in on Arjen Robben immediately, hardly let him have a touch of the ball, and has put it out for a throw, which Robben takes back to Van der Veil, and has deflected out for another throw just in front of the Slovakian dugout down below us. You know, Slovakia really caught the imagination of world football with that win against Italy, but you look back to their other games, they drew with New Zealand, they lost to Paraguay. Maybe it's no surprise they're not putting the Dutch under much more pressure here in Durban.
They actually looked terrible against Paraguay, and they lacked any vision, they lacked any ideas, and even when losing that game, they weren't looking to go forward at all. Paraguay completely dominated them.
This is 5 Live from the BBC at the World Cup in South Africa. Long ball played forward, looking for Van Persie, but it's too far in ahead of him. You know, football's not the most popular sport in Slovakia. They are massive ice hockey fans. That's where the allegiances lie. But Vladimir Weiss, the youngest coach at this World Cup, has brought this nation to a World Cup finals for the first time. Here they are in the second round. And they're just one goal behind. They might have a bigger say in this tournament than we're giving them credit for. But this is Schneider for the Dutch. You would think a second goal would be the killer. This is Robben. Beautiful reverse pass to Van Bommel on the right-hand side. Low ball. Van Persie's missed it by miles.
I think he just got a little bit in front of the goal there. He had to get a really subtle, delicate touch to flick it behind him, and he didn't manage to do it because the ball was zipped in. But once again, as you mentioned before, Zabavnik got as close as he possibly could to Arjen Robben. Of course, Robben's not stupid. He understood that his fullback was going to overlap him. Got to the byline once again, and you do get the feeling that the Dutch actually can get to the byline whenever they fancy it, which is the last place you want to get to if you're defending at the moment. Can't see any way back into it. Will there be changes at half time for Slovakia? Have they got any big players they can bring on? Because let's be honest, that's as many positive players as I've seen them play in this tournament. They've got 4 attackers.
A minute left in the first half. Holland lead by Arjen Robben's goal, which came in the 18th minute. Very well taken strike, cutting in off the right wing, left-footed shot beating the goalkeeper at the near post. And Slovakia have done a lot of running, but no threatening the Dutch goal down the other end. Slovakia did score 3 times against Italy. First time the Italians had conceded 3 in a World Cup game since that famous final in 1970 against Brazil. Vitek gets a touch. That's not a bad effort, actually, to get Hamšík into the game on the right-hand side. His attempted cross is deflected up into the air off Mathiasson. And a throw into Slovakia. Closing stages of the first half on the right-hand side. It's back to Pekarik. Controls it. Here comes the cross. It hung in there nicely, but no one attacked it. Maybe a chance for Kutka in midfield. Kutska's shot, though, is off target. And the referee gives, well, what has he given? A free kick to the Dutch.
I have to say I'm with you on that one. I have absolutely no idea. I think there was the merest showing of studs there by Kutska as he went forward, but I think it was a very vague showing of them. I think that in the British game that certainly wouldn't be given as a free kick.
No. Kutska, who plays in the Czech Republic with Sparta Prague. That shot is about all that Slovakia have managed in this first half. They've conceded to Arjen Robben. The referee has blown the whistle for the break. It's Holland 1, Slovakia 0.
30 seconds into the second half. No changes to either team made by their coaches at half-time, with Holland leading Slovakia through Arjen Robben's 18th minute goal. And Slovakia in all white today, their chain strip, attacking the goal away to our right. Holland in their orange shirts, black shorts and orange socks, attacking Jan Muka's goal away to our left. The defence in front of Muka from right to left is Peter Pekarik, Martin Skrtel, Jan Durica and Radislav Zabavnik. And then the midfield fluid 5 is probably the best way to put it. Vladimir Weiss, Marek Hamšík, the captain, Juraj Kuška, Erik Jędrzejczyk and Miroslav Stok, with Robert Vitek up front. Holland have Martin Stekelenburg in goal, across the back from right to left, Gregory van der Wiel, John Heitinga, Joris Matthijssen and Giovanni van Bronckhorst, the captain. 2 sitting midfielders, Nigel de Jong and Mark van Bommel. Wesley Sneijder just ahead of them. And the wingers, on the right, Arjen Robben. On the left, Dirk Kuyt, with Robin van Persie, the lone striker. Former Scotland international Pat Nevin is alongside me this afternoon, and I think bland might have been a good way to describe the first half. Pat?
Yeah, I was downstairs, I was talking to an England supporter I met at half time there. He summed it up absolutely perfectly. Holland are winning 1-0 in third gear, and they don't have to do it anymore at the moment. And I thought, well said, mate. He seemed very disappointed he's just arrived today.
He's a bit late, isn't he?
Well, yes.
Saying that, though, like several nations which aren't represented at the World Cup at all, there are St George flags around this stadium. I can see 7 of them. I can also see a flag from Sweden and one from Canada over on the far side of the field. Holland have possession inside their own half, with Nigel de Jong, who plays it square to his defensive midfield partner Mark van Bommel, and then it goes back to John Heitinger, and now Joris Matthijssen. Robben's goal, as we mentioned in the commentary in the first half, was a typical Robben strike, cutting in from the right and then unleashing a low left foot shot past the goalkeeper. And if Holland are going to be a real threat in these World Cup finals and even win the tournament, then he's going to be key to that, isn't he, Pat Nevin?
Yeah, he's going to be very important. He's not just got pace. The good thing about him, he's got everything else as well. His goal scoring, as you say, has been fantastic this season, and also just the fact that they seem a well organised and structured team, Holland, at the moment, and the fact that they will sit and defend and wait to be attacked, which they are being now.
By Weiss, who plays it to the edge of the area. The runner through central midfield was Hamšík, the captain. Holland clear it, but have to defend once more because it's on this near side with Pekarik. Midway inside the Holland half. Slovakia trailing after 4 minutes of the second period. Here's Slovakia again, but they're forced all the way back to Muka, the goalkeeper, and now it's with Durica up to the halfway line.
Do you actually think any of the Holland players look particularly tired just now, as if they've put a real shift in? They don't. They really are comfortable just now. And I think as a part of their game plan, but they do like to just sit a little bit further back and tempt a team on, you know. And even when they hold possession, they hold it very, very deep and then break quickly as soon as someone falls, an opponent or an opposition team, you know, lulled into a false sense of security. And that's exactly how they scored the goal.
Flirtation. They're sort of flirting with them a little bit, aren't they? Just teasing them. Both coaches sitting on the last seat of the row in the dugout. But Van Marwijk away to our left as Van Persie tries to turn in the area. Poor clearance, straight to Robben on the edge of the box, trying to manoeuvre into a good position, and he gets another low left-footed shot in, but this time Muka gets a hand to it.
Absolutely fantastic again. His footwork, his twinkle toes on the edge of that box there was absolutely brilliant. I thought there were enough players outside. There were 3 players round him. He still managed to get a shot his way. He got it, I think, on target. I think you're absolutely right. The keeper got a fingertip to it. That was 100% going in the bottom corner again.
Corner kick which Wesley Sneijder takes to the back post. Muka beaten but headed away by a defender. Van Bommel then tries to head it back towards the box. He does succeed in finding Sneijder on the left. Now Robben gets the return from Cow. Left-hand angle of the area. Robben lays it in. Shot comes in and it's cleared by Slovakia. And I think it was Joris Matthijssen inside the 6-yard area.
Right off his face. He knew nothing about that at all, and he's rubbing his nose just now. But great play once again as Arjen Robben. He's just basically going through players as if they don't exist. And instead of panicking and having a lash at goal there, he plays a lovely ball across. And is it Sneijder that's gone the end of that?
Matthijssen, I think.
No, Matthijssen smashed in the face of the goalkeeper. Anyway, right, left or right by 6 inches. That was goal number 2.
Still 1-0 to Holland. They're going to have a throw-in inside the Slovakia half away to our left. 6 minutes of the second half play on 5 Live. To come later today, Brazil against Chile. Another of the games in the last 16 as Sneijder almost retrieves the ball, courtesy of a bit of spin, a bit of wind, but it's gone out for a goal kick to Slovakia.
There's an intriguing point just now. I mean, looking at Van Persie early on in the game, we know how fantastic a player he is, and we know for Arsenal when he's at his best, he's quite central to most of the good things that happen. He's been quite peripheral today, hasn't he? He really hasn't been greatly involved in the game.
It's that Jędrzejczyk running after that ball, which dribbles out of play. Slovakia, if you've just joined us on 5 Live, have barely threatened Holland at all during the first 52 minutes of this game.
They've got to take a chance. They really have to push it eventually. Well, they did it against Italy and it worked. I think that was more breaking than anything else.
And Italy aren't Holland in terms of the attacking intent which the Dutch have. Schneider's brought down right by the touchline on this near side, midway inside the Slovakia half. Free kick to Holland.
And with the assist on the left hand side here, so you think it should be a right footed player who should curl it in towards the back post. And remember, the wind swirling about, the goalkeepers are not going to enjoy that.
Snyder's going to take it. He plays it in right footed deep to the fast post. It curls with the wind, but curls fortuitously into the arms of Jan Muka, soon to be an Everton player, dressed in all green today. And he waits to try and clear from the edge of his own box. Slovakia trailing by 1-0. The winners of this game in the last 16 will play either Brazil or Chile in the quarter-finals of the World Cup. If it is to be Holland and it is to be Brazil, what a quarter-final that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the one that many of the neutrals will want to see, and it's an exciting one. I'm looking forward to it myself. I'm going to be going to that game, but right off Chile yet. I've seen Chile a few times. I adore watching that team play just now. I think they're a fabulous team to watch. Two weaknesses in their game. I don't think they've got a striker of world-class ability, and that's going to, that's what eventually will probably sell them short. And also they do tend to roll about a bit now and again. Apart from that, love to watch them play.
I do have a preference for Brazil reaching the final, because I will be in Brazil for the World Cup final. I don't think there'd be any better sight than that, to be with a load of Brazilians watching their team.
Do you think they might have a party if they win?
Yeah, possibly. Vladimir Weiss moving to the edge of his technical area, dressed in a dark navy pinstripe suit today. He was in the Czechoslovakia squad, which reached the quarter-finals of the 1990 World Cup. Can he lead Slovakia to the same stage here in South Africa, going on the basis of his team's performance in the first 54 minutes? The answer would be a fairly emphatic no.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of frustration on his part, and I feel a little bit sorry for him as well, because he has set out a team, and I can see just now he's asked two players to stay up front a little bit as well. And certainly Stock. I mean, they'll switch it around. Stock, Jędrzejczyk, they'll all take little different periods of a game where they'll try and get up and help Vitek as much as possible, but if they give too much space in the midfield, they'll be destroyed.
Here's Van Persie, moves out towards the right. Robin is there to his right, but he goes it alone, checks inside one Slovakia defender. Slovakia try to clear, not very competently. Hamšík then kicks the ball out of play because one of the Slovakia players is inside the area, injured.
Yeah, I was mentioning before that Van Persie hasn't had a great effect on this game so far. He's trying to go for one of those kind of mazy dribbles that he does. He's really cool about it. And to be honest, I think he's left his studs right in there, and I think he's very fortunate not to get a yellow card on that occasion. That was a wee bit nasty there. But maybe taking a little bit away from Martin Skirtle, I think he's had a fabulous tournament so far. But remember back to that moment, he had clearance off the line against Italy, didn't he? And I think he's had a very, very good tournament so far.
Zabavnik's really struggling there on the edge of the penalty area.
It was a very naughty challenge by Van Persie,
who is actually on a yellow card in this tournament, not in the game.
Unnecessary. He'd overrun the ball and he left his studs in there.
Was that deliberate?
I would say that was... This is going to sound very harsh. That was a coward's challenge. He knew he wasn't going to get the ball, so he protected himself by sticking his studs up, Van Persie, on that occasion.
Well, Radoslav Zabavnik might need more than treatment. There's a stretcher going out to him. Let's, in the meantime, head to Wimbledon and get the latest from Alistair Eakin.
Well, Serena Williams is leading Maria Sharapova here by a set to love, and she is now 3-2 up in the second with a break of serve after breaking in Sharapova's second service game in this set. And the intensity levels have just fallen away a little bit. The game's just broken up. It's become much more scrappy and not quite such high quality. But Serena Williams leads, having taken the first set in the tiebreak 11-9, a really important double fault from Sharapova, handing Serena Williams the set point, and Williams leads 3-2 with a break in the second.
Thank you, Alistair. Coverage over on 5 Live Sports Extra. Here on 5 Live, Radoslav Zabavnik is going to come back on the field. He took his right boot off to receive some of that magic spray. It's a bit like a dance floor at a nightclub when they get the dry ice out. A cloud of spray, and now Zabavnik runs back to the halfway line with Slovakia momentarily down to 10 men. 12 minutes played in the second half. Holland leads Slovakia through Arjen Robben's first half goal, and at the moment you can't see anyone other than Holland in this match reaching the quarter-finals.
No, but when it's 1-0, there's always an opportunity. You think there'll be one chance at some point for the Slovakian side.
Here's a chance again, though, for Robben on the right. Zabavnik caught out, not for the first time, lays the ball square, and it's cleared by Kuchka out to the far side for a Holland throw.
It's not even particularly complicated what they're having to do here with Arjen Robben. You've got a centre-back who doesn't know how to position himself against a winger, getting every time inside him. And he's just wiped Robben out there.
I think Zabavnik has had such a torrid time trying to deal with the Bayern Munich winger that on that occasion he thought, right, I can't have any more of this.
I think he's quite pleased with the fact he got close enough to trip him up.
He avoided a yellow card as well,
which I do not understand at this point in time with this referee. I think he tends to do different things in the second half of this referee. I think it was 8 bookings in the first half of the game that I've seen him earlier on the competition, and he was a wee bit panicky at the first half. In the second half here he's calmed down a little bit.
Alberto Undiano of Spain just making sure the wall is back 10 yards with Robben and Van Persie preparing to orchestrate the free kick. It's a yard outside the box near the right hand angle of the area. It's actually Schneider out there with Van Persie, who takes it, curls the ball in, punched away by the two fists of Jan Muka, who's caught by Dirk Kuyt, and it's going to be a free kick to Slovakia.
Welcome to Liverpool, possibly, from Dirk Kuyt there to the Everton goalkeeper. He has gone and he's really attacked. I mean, to be honest, the ball's there to be challenged, and give him his due. Kuyt actually tried to get out of the challenge there, so well done Dirk Kuyt, but it definitely was a foul and a great free kick, a great effort, put in at great pace towards the goalkeeper Mucha.
Yeah, a taste of what's to come in a Merseyside derby, maybe.
I think so.
Next season. Oh, you've been there, haven't you?
I'm not going to have a dig at any Liverpool footballers who've left huge scars on my left shin.
Here's Dirk Kuyt of Liverpool, plays it to Inter Milan's Wesley Sneijder. Snyder's pass is loose, doesn't find Van Bronckhorst, and away comes Slovakia. Neat little chip there by Kuchka to find Weiss, and that's the ball for Jędrzejczyk to chase, but he's never going to reach it because the wind is taking it away for a Holland goal kick.
Just doesn't seem dangerous, does it? At no point, you're absolutely right beforehand, it doesn't seem dangerous. So you're looking for the manager Weiss to do something, but you suspect that he's put out what he considers his 11 best players to start the game, so what he's got to come on, I've seen him a few times, there's no one that jumped out at me that is going to come on and make a massive difference to this, but they might as well have a go. They will have a go at some point in the game. They just shouldn't leave it too late, because there's only half an hour of the World Cup left for Slovakia as we speak.
Well,
we talked about Slovakia there. I'm going to Greece in a week's time. Obviously I've got it in my mind.
Sounds like you're already there. Stenko Sturba is not at Weiss's disposal today because he's been suspended after picking up a second yellow. But Slovakia are attacking down their left flank, far side. Stop, surely brought down there by Van Bommel as Holland clear. But play continues, and De Ritz under pressure from Van Persie, and that is a foul and a free kick to Slovakia.
Yeah, I mean, he's making the effort up there, Van Persie, but if Holland are going to go a long way, all the way in this tournament, you need to get Van Persie at his very best, and for me, he's not been at his very best. Maybe like some other players in this Holland side, they're doing enough. No more than that. You just think, you know, if you were any other team, you know, who are lacking in confidence slightly, you would be desperate to get that second goal just now. There doesn't seem a desperation about the Dutch to get the second goal. It's as if they feel as if this one will be enough.
Bert van Marwijk has just got off his seat and is talking to one of his players on the bench, motioning maybe for one of them to come on. It looks like Klaas-Jan Huntelaar is going to warm up away to our left.
Wouldn't surprise me if it was for Van Persie. He's not himself.
They do have some good players on the bench. Huntelaar, Rafael van der Vaart, Ibrahim Afellay, to name three. There's a tackle there by Nigel de Jong, and a foul on de Jong by Weiss. It's a free kick to Holland, and they're just perfectly happy just to knock the ball around in a very patient manner, Holland. And
de Jong's doing what he loves to do, getting in around people, tackling quietly, killing any little developments that are opening up for the Slovakian side just now. He's at a really good game in that defensive position. A lot of people would argue it's the easiest position in the field, but you've got to do it, and he does it well.
Long distance strike coming in, which Stecklenburg goes down low to his right. Did he touch the ball? No, the Slovakian players felt that he did.
I suspect he might have, but we shall see. We've got a replay here. Yeah,
it's Kuchka's effort.
I think he has possibly. We touch to make sure it went by. Hard one to tell though for the referee.
Definitely, he definitely touched the ball, Martin Stecklenburg of Ajax, but he has won a goal kick for his team. He was a squad member in Germany 4 years ago, Stecklenburg, but was unused during the tournament. But he's very much Holland's number one following the retirement of Edwin van der Sar. They do have two other players at this tournament, of course. Second choice is Michel Vorm of Utrecht, and Sander Boschke, the veteran goalkeeper who's almost 40 years of age, who had a very, very good season with 20 last year when they won the Dutch League title.
I would be surprised if either of them get an opportunity other than for an injury for Stecklenburg. They've not made many changes at all in this tournament so far, and maybe that's another reason why they look so assured. Everyone knows their job, they know how to play with each other. It's a very settled side.
A side which leads 1-0. 18 minutes into the second half of this match in Durban, the sun setting on this magnificent stadium, and you're listening to 5 Live, where later in the day we'll bring you commentary of Brazil versus Chile, who'll be the next opponents, either one of those teams, the next opponents of either one of these two teams. Here's Kuchka up towards Jędrzejczyk. Looks like he was brought down by clumsy challenges from both Van Bommel and Matthijssen. Free kick, Slovakia.
Just look at the way the Dutch, you have to applaud them for the defending. I mean, we have talked about those two sitting midfielders, and it can be seen as an incredibly negative way to play in front of 4 defenders.
Slovakia's free kick is headed away by Van Bommel to the feet of Schneider, and Schneider plays it down the right. The outlet is Robben, and 3 Dutch players charge at 2 Slovakia defenders. Played through by Robben. Schneider, edge of the area, on the curve, tries a shot, blocked well by the defenders. Pekarik, I think, got that challenge in, and now Holland have to play it back to their goalkeeper Stecklenburg.
That's the problem they've got. I mean, they just need to leave one player up front. Once again it was Robben. Lightning, he made the right pass. Sadly for him, when he actually played it inside his friend, did not make the right pass, Wesley Sneijder.
Hamšík for Slovakia, the captain, has it, plays it back towards Zabavnik, whose ball over the top is wasteful, because Jędrzejczyk was a long way offside, and that's more frustration for Vladimir Weiss Senior, 45 years of age, 13 years the junior of Bert van Marwijk, his opposite number, and the youngest man coaching a team at this tournament.
Yeah, there's lots of difficulties for Slovakia at the moment. I think they quite like to try and play the odd long ball, for Vitek to maybe try and get on the end of. Difficult when the wind's behind on these occasions with a light ball. It's an almost impossible ball. You're trying to get backspin in it. It just isn't going to happen. So what you should really be trying to do in these occasions when you get the wind behind you, get within 25, maybe even 30 yards, and just get shots on target. I've had one shot in the second half. It was 30 yards or so. Okay, it wasn't on target, but it had the goalkeeper Stecklenburg panicking.
So limited has the service been to Vitek, I've barely mentioned his name during the commentary.
And to be honest, he's not the only one, to be fair. I mean, up front, he's tried to play Jędrzejczyk up front and with him a few times in the second half, and he just hasn't got the ball in the most dangerous areas.
But would Slovakia want a goal now from their joint all-time leading goal scorer? Miroslav Stoch in the penalty area, onto his right foot, finds some space, shoots, good save! Martin Stecklenburg acrobatically pushes that ball over the crossbar for a Slovakia corner.
I suspect it was going over the crossbar anyway, but well done from Stoch. Lots of power on it, straight at the goalkeeper. He managed to get it over the top, but by a long way the best moment of the game so far for Slovakia.
From the corner, a short one, it's Vladimir Weiss, loses possession to Wesley Sneijder. Sneijder clears down the line, Pekarik picks it up, played square by Stoch. Doritza now pushes through, good ball, here is Vitek, left foot soft, brilliant save, Stecklenburg again, and Vitek drops to his back, holds his head in his hands, and from 12 yards out he almost drew Slovakia level.
You do not know how many chances you're going to get, and you doubt if there's going to be many better chances that for Slovakia. But what a good save. He's got himself out there, he's made himself very, very big, Stecklenburg. But there was plenty of power behind the shot. He's leveled it, he's got the wind behind him, and Vitek, with his confidence and his scoring so far, would have expected him to put it away. Maybe another centre forward would have passed it in the corner, and maybe that's what's needed in that occasion.
And that's why neither Messrs. Vorm or Boschke will probably get a chance at this World Cup unless Stekelenburg is injured.
Well, he's not done a thing the entire game so far, Stekelenburg, and then within a minute he's made 2 very good saves indeed, and he's made himself big, he's got himself in the right positions, not done anything particularly fancy, just done the sensible, correct thing with the first one, and the second one, it was great reactions.
The Dutch play a long ball downfield for Dirk Kuyt to pick up on this near side. Trying to find a Dutch player, plays it infield to Van Bommel, cut out though by Slovakia, who break away through Kuchka, and to take you through at the midway point of the second half to full time is Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Mike. Well, Slovakia have just been knocking on the door here, and at World Cup football level, 1-0 is always a narrow lead. Without doubt, Holland have dominated this game. They've had the possession, they've had the chances, but it is still just 1-0, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, we said that all along there from the start of the second half. I mean, they're not looking great, Slovakia, but eventually they're going to get the odd chance. Now, they did get 2 chances. It's whether they can create 1 or 2 more. And the fear, of course, is if Holland want to break, they break, they're lightning on the break, and they've looked fantastic on the break, even during this second half. But it'll be a little bit of a wake-up call, I think, for Holland there.
When Ian Robben scored after 18 minutes, I did think the Dutch might have been out of sight by now. I'm sure around the world millions will be cheering on the underdog here, and maybe seeing if Slovakia could put a bit of pressure on Holland, who have not been tested yet here in South Africa at the World Cup. The Dutch are going to make a substitution, but it looks like they're going to wait until after this free kick to do so. So free kick on the left-hand side. Wesley Sneijder is placing the ball. Eliero Elia, the Hamburg striker, is the man who's going to come on. But not until after the free kick, which is just outside the penalty area, but near the touchline on the left-hand side. There's a one-man wall being erected, and Sneijder has got 6 teammates to aim for in the centre. The referee trying to keep a close eye on any pushing and shoving in there. Holland lead 1-0 on 5 line. Schneider's ball in, Dirk Kuyt's header over the crossbar.
Very, very difficult one to defend. That's the second time they've played that precise ball in from that area. Schneider's delivery is absolutely brilliant, but I'll tell you what, Slovakia haven't given up, they're breaking.
And there's a break down the left-hand side with Weiss, the coach's son, and he almost gets to the penalty area before he's tackled and the ball goes walloping out of play. So Elia is going to come on for the Dutch, and Slovakia are going to take this chance to make a change of their own here. And first of all, this is interesting, the man who's coming off for Holland is Ian Robben, who scored the goal.
Well, I think he wouldn't want him to get booked again, because he has been booked already once in this half, so that's maybe taking a chance here. But to be honest, he's been a long way the best player on the pitch and the most dangerous player on the pitch, so I suspect Elia will come on, and as far as I am aware, he's not sluggish either.
No. And to prove that point, he comes bursting into a sprint as he comes onto the field here in Durban. The Slovakia change, Kamil Kopienek, who scored against Italy at Ellis Park, is going to come on in place of Erik Jędrysek. So Kopienek comes on, and it's a striker for a striker.
Yeah, maybe he'll give him something different. And Jędrysek, to be honest, he's worked very, very hard. He's played about 4 different positions in this game so far, and that is one of the factors and one of the features of the Slovakian game. If one tactic isn't working, you change it 10 minutes later and see if that one works.
Throw into Slovakia on the far side. They did score 22 goals in qualifying, but when you analyse the figures a little bit more, it was against the weaker nations that they got most of those goals. This is Babnik trying to get possession on the left wing, but he's been tackled by Van der Veil, and the clearance picked up once more by Slovakia, but Weiss has lost the ball to the new man, Elia for Holland, and Weiss swings out a boot, he brings him down, and a free kick to the Dutch 10 yards inside their own half. Now, a yellow card has been shown to the new man, Kopienek. Well, we've just seen a replay. I stand corrected. He was the man who committed the foul. So Kopienek's first act is to get himself booked.
Better be very careful as the first seconds that he's been on. Another free kick would be the quickest player sent off in history.
3 yellow cards now in the game, and none of them for the many players who would miss the quarter-final should they get there, were they to pick up a yellow card here. Free kick to Holland. It's 6 or 7 yards inside their own half, and taken by Everton's Heitinga, and Van der Veil picks it up on the right wing. He's immediately closed down, and Weiss has done well to win back possession for Slovakia, wearing all white, playing from left to right while we look down here. And the Dutch have possession again. This is brilliant. First touch, triangular passing from the Dutch. De Jong finds Van Persie outside the penalty area. He has to come away from goal, but it's clever. He gives it to Kout on the near touchline. Kout comes infield on his right boot, left into the centre. There's a powerful shot. Well saved by Muka. He to get down to his right hand side, and he's parried the ball out for a corner.
They just love that move, don't they? They're wide players. I hesitate to call Dirk Kuyt a winger, but plays on the left, goes in on his right foot, puts a load of power in that. This time the keeper guesses right and gets it in the near post.
I think that close chance for Robert Vitek has been a bit of a wake-up call for Holland. Here comes the corner, played in by Schneider and cleared away by Kopienek on the edge of the penalty area. Schneider's going to sprint back towards the halfway line and gather possession, and then infield to Van der Veil, who helps it back to the goalkeeper Stelkenberg. What a brilliant save from Martin Stelkenberg against Robert Vitek, who was in the penalty area, and he won't have been disappointed by the way he struck the ball. That's how well he wanted to hit it, but the goalkeeper did very, very well.
Yeah, and in both occasions, those two shots from Stock as well.
Yeah.
The only thing you could say, they were directed at the goalkeeper. They weren't to the side of him, but that's to take nothing away. Stecklenburg, we've seen plenty of balls hit at goalkeepers in this tournament that went straight through them or past them before they can move.
The Dutch have possession. They have the lead here, and they hope they are going to the quarter-final in Cape Town, controlled by Elia, who's got a little bit of a curious step over there, dragged his studs on the ball, and he's turned around the fullback twice here. Very good play by Elia, and what a disappointing cross at the end of a brilliant build-up.
Yeah, he just wanted to be given that extra time, which actually I wouldn't complain about too much, but it was an awful cross.
I've just been watching Elia off the ball. He was literally hopping mad. As he ran back into position, he jumped up in the air and stamped his feet on the ground. He did everything right until the cross. Here's a poor ball at the other end. Slovakia trying to get it in the penalty area, but it's gone out of play from Vladimir Weiss and out for a goal kick.
He's another one with an Elia. He's another one with an odd gait. He's obviously very, very quick when he gets himself going, but his jogging action is very strange. And if you ever watch Arjen Robben, he always jogs as if he's injured. He's about 43 years of age, but when he gets going, he's lightning.
Yeah, I've always thought with Arjen Robben, it's a kind of a can't really be bothered with this jogging stuff. I'm just going to strut along, and then when I'll show you my afterburners when I really want to speed. Dirk Kuyt's possession for the Dutch here, who've won their 3 group games, doing well here in the second round. Last time they won all 3 group games, they got to the final. This is Elia, the substitute, who's full of tricks. Here comes the cross, much better this time, but no Dutchman at the far post.
Yeah, he's actually, since he's come on, it's very noticeable. You can check with a player who doesn't play that often for a national team. When he comes on, watch how many times he gets the ball in the first couple of minutes. If he gets the ball a lot in the first couple of minutes, his teammates believe in him. They obviously believe in this boy earlier.
Quarter of an hour to play amid the drone of the Vuvuzelas in Durban. It's Holland 1, Slovakia 0. Let's get an update on events at Wimbledon and join Alistair Regan.
And Serena Williams is through to the quarter-finals, the champion on course to defend her title. She was brilliant in the opening set. It was a very high-quality set against Maria Sharapova, and Serena won it 11-9 on a tie-break, a really important double fault from Sharapova, handing Serena Williams a set point, which she then snaffled, and she was efficiency itself in set 2. 6 games to 4, still yet to drop a set. Serena Williams through.
Thank you very much, Alistair. Andy Murray's game against the American Sam Querrey coming up later on 5 Live once we get to the end of proceedings here in Durban. This is Dirk Kuyt coming forward for the Dutch on the right wing. Slovakian defenders doubling up on him, and it's gone out for a throw-in to Holland midway inside the Slovakian half down the right-hand side.
Holland have actually changed this. Well, they've not changed the system at all. The system's exactly the same. They've just shifted the personnel around, and Dirk Kuyt's now playing the right wing, and Elia's gone in the left wing. He looks like a very natural left winger, and it looks quite balanced like that. As I say, they don't change the system a great deal, and all the personnel can play in the different positions. If one person wants to go and play in the left, he'll go and play in the left, and Dirk Kuyt will play up front.
Slovakia need a goal, or they are going out of their first ever World Cup. The Dutch only conceded 2 goals in qualifiers. They played 8 games, beat Scotland home and away, and they only conceded 2 goals in those 8 games. This is the substitute Elia, the number 17, who's full of tricks and pace, rolls it in field to Van Bronckhorst. Well, I don't think tricks nor pace are on his CV these days.
Not these days,
and the ball has been put out of play, but he does the simple things right. and he's been a big reason why they've kept so many clean sheets.
Oh, he's a player we very, very seldom mention at the moment, but he is skipper of that side. He's gone and played at left back, and not a player who always played at left back. He's well known as a midfielder as well, so he's reinvented himself and managed to stay in the team.
Maybe a chance for Slovakia here. Vladimir Weiss, left touchline, coming in towards the corner angle of the area. Good pass as well into the centre. Kucka helps it on. Maybe Vitek gets a chance. He's put it over the crossbar. Just for a moment, it looked like the curtain was going to come open for him, but he's put it over the crossbar.
How similar was that to the chance he had that Stecklenberg saved earlier on? It was just a break right through the centre. It was one of those ones, I don't think it was a pass through, it was just a kind of a bobble through that hit off a couple of players, and this time he didn't get it on target. Maybe Stecklenberg's presence spooked him slightly.
Having seen what we've seen here, there's still sort of 12 minutes to go, Pat. Could we be looking at the world champions in Holland?
There's a possibility, there's no doubt there's a possibility of that, but I think they're still a distance away from being favourites. I still think, when you look what Argentina have got going forward, maybe not the same in defence, but they tend to create chances all the time and make the game very open. And just Brazil have, touch-wise, every single player in that Brazil team is as good as anybody else in this competition, so take away Messi from that, the Brazilians for me are still favourites.
Well, Holland doing an effective job here, a professional job, but not exactly wowing us in Durban. The Brazilians are in action tonight. Full commentary on 5 Live. Brazil against Chile from Johannesburg at 7:30. And the Dutch are going to make a change here.
He's desperate to make that change. The reason being those orange shirts show up so much. They didn't want to substitute standing by the side there because it looks as if he was on the field.
The man who's going to come on, Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, the former Real Madrid striker, now playing with AC Milan. He's got a decent CV, doesn't he? He's started with Ajax, came to prominence with Ajax, went to Real Madrid. They didn't hold on to him for very long before shipping him out to AC Milan. And the few opportunities he did get in Madrid, he scored a lot of goals. I think it was 13 starts, he scored 8 goals. The man he's coming on for here is Robin van Persie. And I think it's very fair to say, Pat Nevin, that Robin van Persie is not pleased to be substituted.
I'm tempted to say he's got a little bit of a cheek to be doing that, because I've been saying all the way through I don't think he's had a particularly good game. But maybe you could argue he knows he needs 90 minutes. He knows he needs to get his match fitness up. And he'll be saying to the manager, well, wait a minute, I've been out for half a season, I'm trying to get match fitness here. Tell you what, try a run along the beach tomorrow, mate. That may help the fitness.
My theory is that Robin van Persie is on a yellow card, and if it is going to be Holland-Brazil, the Dutch want Van Persie to be playing for certain in that quarter-final. Possession with Martin Skrtel, the Liverpool central defender, passing it to Pekarik on the right-hand side. Slovakia have possession, but they're inside the central third of the field, and Holland have 11 players behind the ball. It's been given away to Van Bronckhorst up towards Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, challenged robustly by Skrtel from behind. The Dutch take the free kick too quickly, and Schneider's going to have to do it again. The ball was rolling.
The manager's Mr. Weiss is not happy at all there. He felt that Skrtel got the ball, and you mentioned the fact that Martin Skrtel tackled robustly. Does he tackle any other way?
Yeah, exactly.
and that's not in any way a negative thing. As I said earlier on, I think he's had a fine tournament so far. Don't think he's made any great mistakes that I've seen so far, and also he's kept very good players quiet.
Just less than 9 minutes of normal time remaining, and Holland didn't commit too many players forward there for that free kick. Slovakia have it, right full-back position with Pekarik, short onto Stock. He's going to give the ball in field, and back to Stock again on the right-hand side, but it's so laboured from Slovakia, trying to get out of their own half, and they lose the ball. And Elia, one trick too many. I'm a bit worried about Elia. He's too many tricks up his sleeve, and more often than not he's tricking himself.
Can you remember when Cristiano Ronaldo first come onto the scene? One of those ones, mate, just pass the ball now and again, would you? But he's obviously got something about him, and it's those types of players, the last thing to learn is when to pass it.
Cristiano Ronaldo got that ironed out of him at Old Trafford, didn't he? But Elia, even before, when he beat the fullback, he had to come back and wait for him to get up and beat him again, because once wasn't enough.
What's wrong with that?
It's 1-0 to Holland here in Durban. This is 5 Live from the BBC. All the games from the World Cup, from inside every stadium. And Slovakia take this free kick quickly to Marek Hamšík, who is their star player but hasn't quite risen to the big stage here today. They've done nothing with that free kick but give possession back to the Dutch.
Yeah, they had that little period where they had a couple of chances. We mentioned Stolk's chance. Vitek's had a very good chance and another half chance as well. So they've got to believe that they've not got a huge amount of time left, probably less than 10 minutes left, but one more chance, that's all they need. They're not out of it yet. There's still a possibility for them, but to be honest, they've just not looked classy enough to break down the Dutch so far.
Yeah, if this was 2-0 to Holland, you'd be saying done and dusted. 1-0, you just can't say that. Here comes Dirk Kuyt for Holland, goes around the goalkeeper, still has a defender to beat. There's no linesman's flag. Schneider makes it 2-0, and that probably is done and dusted. Holland into the quarter-finals of the 2010 World Cup. Dirk Kuyt kept some real composure, and he set up Wesley Sneijder for his second game of the World Cup, and Slovakia appear to be on their way out.
They certainly do appear to be on their way out, and I have to hugely applaud Dirk Kuyt there. I thought it was absolutely fantastic for him. His work rate is always great. We know that about Dirk Kuyt. It's always great. He's onside, a long way onside, but many players would have tried the angled shot here. Great chance from himself, but he was selfless, played the ball back, and it was nothing more than a tap in there. Well done, intelligent play and selfless play as well from Dirk Kuyt.
6 minutes to go, and finally Holland have got themselves a cushion. Wesley Sneijder's goal adding to Ian Robben's opener, and it's Holland 2, Slovakia 0. Let's go back to Wimbledon for an update from Alistair Regan.
Well, Conor, Jonathan Overend here, just settling into our seat on centre court for Andy Murray's fourth round match at Wimbledon 2010. And after a close to perfect first week, just looking to build and hopefully move into the quarter-finals for the third year in a row, his opponent from the USA, 6'6" Sam Querrey, just in the knock-up at the moment. Full commentary coming up on 5 Live once you're done in Durban.
Apologies for that, Jonathan. We've got just over 5 minutes of normal time to go, and then we'll be going straight to Wimbledon here on 5 Live and keeping abreast of all the big sports stories this month, and we'll continue to do so here on 5 Live. Possession with the Dutch. They've got their 2-0 lead now. Martin Skrtel, the Liverpool central defender, was booked in the aftermath of that second Dutch goal, and there might be a third one now as Kuyt comes into the penalty area, right hand side, hangs in the cross, comes to Elia, 2 touches to control the ball, the prerequisite drag back that he needs to do, and a step over, and in the end a poor shot straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he slowed everything down there, and that was a little bit of a shame, that, because that was another fantastic break by the Dutch, and once again it was Dirk Kuyt on that far side there. His work rate's been great. You mentioned Skrtel got booked there. I think he got booked because he was complaining that his Liverpool teammate Dirk Kuyt was offside. Never in a month of Sundays was he offside there. It was a perfectly timed run.
Holland 2, Slovakia 0, and it looks like they will be facing either Brazil or Chile in the quarter-final. Slovakia, well, it's almost a bit too late for a last throw of the dice, but 2 substitutes have been prepared for a double swap here, and you'd have to think it's just to give guys the privilege of saying they've played at the World Cup maybe more than actually changing this around at this stage. I mean, you never know in football, but it looks to be too big an ask for Slovakia now. Possession with the Eastern Europeans, but they give it away on the halfway line. This is Van Bronckhorst into Schneider, score of the second goal. Huntelaar is offside, and the keeper saved it anyway.
Yeah, the referee got that one absolutely right, and we'll give an opportunity to make the change just now, and you wonder if he makes a change, and he is hoping to change it in a way that it can be positive. He's taken Hamšík off, and to be honest, he has had a seriously disappointing World Cup, hasn't he? Hamšík, you know, for all the chat that we had about him before, we expected great things of him, and I think he's been very disappointing. Saparas come on, he's actually played already this season. I think a player who might even be happy to come off at this point in time was our friend Zabavnik, who had a torrid time in the first half against Arjen Robben, and he's going to be replaced as well. So
Jabuko has come on for him, Sapara the other man coming on to the field, and it's Holland 2, Slovakia 0, and pretty much just playing out the last 3 minutes now in Durban. The goals from Robben and from Schneider, and the linesman's flag here is raised. Tell you what, Jabuko, he's a big lad, 6'4" tall, Should that sort of introduction have happened a little bit earlier?
Well, without even a shadow of a doubt. There's been a few teams that have disappointed me in this World Cup where they've got to the knockout stages and you think, well, wait a minute, have a go. Does it really matter? Greece particularly were a serious disappointment. They had no attempt at having a go at all. But even maybe New Zealand as well. They did so well to get as far as they did, but they were a goal behind with 10 minutes to go and they never really let it go.
Mind you,
at
least, Pat, they have brought him on. I can think of one other nation who left a tall goal scorer on the bench for their second round match.
I've already been chided saying things that sounds as if I'm negative towards England. I better not say anymore. I'm not negative towards England. To be honest,
what it is, yeah.
I have to, again, we're talking about Holland. They're playing against Slovakia here, and it's a very important game. It was beyond me when you're desperate for goals and you bring on Emil Heskey, who's not a known goal scorer, when you've got Crouch, who's got a phenomenal goal scoring record. He's on the bench.
The post-mortem will continue, and all the latest reaction to England's exit here on 5 Live. It's Slovakia's exit that we're watching here in Durban, and soon the fourth official will be raising his board to tell us what the time added on for stoppages. Look at the space for Dirk Kuyt here, and he's been found by Nigel de Jong. Dirk Kuyt's header brings him into the penalty area, wide on the right, crosses it in, and saved by the goalkeeper. Elia was waiting to pounce, but the goalkeeper Muka, soon to be of Everton, dives down to his right to make the save. Now,
it's a very interesting new technique that they've tried here. They've gone to a system where they've just not have a left back anymore. This is leaving a big space where the left back used to be in Slovakia. That's brave.
Well, I'm a strong believer if you're going to lose in the second round, you might as well lose 8-0 as 2-0. You might as well go for it.
And that's the complaint, as I say, I was making before about New Zealand, and particularly Greece. It was infuriating. I was angry for the entire nation of Greece. And if anyone is going to be living in Catalonia in the next 2 weeks and is hearing this, that's why I said honest. If I have to go there.
Holland 2, Slovakia 0. Brazil against Chile coming up this evening on 5 Live. We'll soon be at Wimbledon with Andy Murray in action this evening. And possession in the middle of midfield here with Marek Sapara. Plays his club football in Turkey. And he's come on as a very late substitute here. You would think too late to change proceedings against the Dutch. Pekarik has possession inside the Slovakian half. Klaas-Jan Huntelaar playing as a lone striker now, and the Dutch solid in midfield as Kuyt chests it down for Van Bommel, and then Schneider rolls it along the turf to Eliero Elia on the left wing. 3 minutes to be added on here for stoppages. 3 minutes until the Dutch confirm their place in the last 8.
Very disappointed there. Elia got the ball on the left hand side. We never got one step over. What's wrong?
Not a single step over.
Oh, he's done one there.
There's one, and only one, but he's also lost the ball. Throw in will be for Holland, and it looks like they might be preparing a very late change of their own here just to settle things off in stoppage time. Van Bronckhorst takes the throw, Skirtle's header up into the air, comes back down to the Liverpool man, but he's been fouled, and that's going to be a free kick to Slovakia. Interesting, Huntelaar intimating that he's been hurt.
And the nice thing about him, do you know what? He didn't actually go down and roll about and dive about. Well done, Klaas-Jan Huntelaar.
Absolutely. This is Mathiasson, the Hamburg defender, his 60th cap for Holland tonight, and back to the goalkeeper, Stekelenburg.
He's a brave man, that Huntelaar. He just went up to Skirtle there and said he's going to have a go on.
Now, offside, surely not Vitek, it's the other substitute, Jabupko, in an offside position. But even one goal now for Slovakia would not be enough.
No, as you say, he looks a big lad, Jabupko, who they've brought on. But he doesn't look the most mobile for me. You got the feeling they probably need to get a few crosses in the ball to him, and he hasn't had any yet. And as you say, Holland will make their final substitution.
And I think this is really an illustration of the strength and depth that they have. They're taking off the other of their goal scorers now, having already taken off Ian Robben. Wesley Schneider replaced in stoppage time by Ibrahim Afellay. This guy is a bit of a player, plays with PSV Eindhoven. Should he be called upon in the remainder of the tournament, he's a very good player for the Dutch. As Kuyt jumps on the far side, Weiss's concentration is gone. Should have won the ball there. First touch for Afellay, outside the area, left-footed shot goes wide of the post. Keeper at full stretch, but it's 3 or 4 yards wide.
I know why he did it. It's his first chance here. There's only 2 minutes to go. He's not had many opportunities. As you correctly say, he's a top-class player, but he should have passed it wide. Elliott was in miles of space and would have been 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. So that was I'm afraid a mistake from Afellay, even though we understand why he did it.
Holland are about to extend their unbeaten run to 23 games, a new Dutch record. They came through unbeaten in qualifying, and they are unbeaten here in South Africa at the finals. Slovakia trying to rouse something, attacking down the left-hand side, but Sapara isn't able to get a shot away. It's back now in another shooting position for Kuchka, and maybe an opportunity to go round the goalkeeper, and we're going to have a penalty for Slovakia right at the very end, and Stelkenberg picks up a yellow card as well for bringing down the substitute Jakubko. It's a penalty for Slovakia. It's probably come too late, but a little bit of late drama in Durban.
I think the referee's probably where he's in a brilliant position, give the referee that, but the forward certainly threw his leg towards the goalkeeper, and I think the referee didn't. I think the goalkeeper did not try and bring him down there. But penalty kick, gets it. Vitek's chance.
Vitek, who has already scored 3 of Slovakia's 4 goals at this World Cup. What a pity this penalty wasn't 10 minutes ago, and we would have had such an exciting finish. But to make it 2-1, Vitek scores, bottom left, very calm penalty. They sprint to try and retrieve the ball, but it is all over in Durban. The referee blows the final whistle. Slovakia get one last goal to cheer. It's been a big adventure for them, but it ends right now, and it's Holland who go through to the quarter-final. Pat Nevin.
There is no doubt at all that Slovakia overperformed. I don't think many people were calling that we're going to go past this hurdle. And the Dutch, from the first half, I have to completely feel it's not changed at all. They've been in second stroke, third gear for the entirety of the match, and that was plenty. There was more to spare.
Do you think, had Slovakia proved a little bit more resistance, would the Dutch have had that extra gear to click into?
100%. I have no doubt about that at all. The problem with Slovakia, had they pushed forward that little bit more and put the Dutch under pressure, the pace and the quality that they've got attacking on the counter, I have no doubt that the Dutch would have made chances anyway. So the Dutch are through, they've cruised through, not just this game, they've cruised through in this competition so far. I suspect their next game might be tougher.
Robben and Schneider scored the goals, and it's finished Holland 2, Slovakia 1.